Hi, I'm Susan Duggan. Welcome to Atlantis Crystals. I'm here with David Ellis, and today we're going to talk about connecting with divinity.
Yes, indeed we are.
Okay, so talk to us about the other tools then, the other ways of doing it.
Okay, we can use lots of tools. Today we just have a small sample here. We have some angel cards, we have inspiration cards, and we have a pendulum. We did pendulum work before. We also have crystals. I want information about something. So what happens is I go into that space, I light my incense, I light my candle, I go into that quiet place and I allow my connection grow with Source. And then I ask a question. And I may get information, I may get a knowing in my mind, and I may not. Or I may get a knowing in my mind and want the human qualification of that. So what I do is, I pick, for example, some cards, and for me, and everybody does it differently, some people spread them out. For me, I shuffle the cards and I hold in my mind what it is that I want information on. And what I do is, I shuffle the cards and I ask my guide to amplify that connection to Source for a card to pop out of the deck, or to make itself very obvious for me that this is my guidance. Okay? And sometimes I could shuffle 3, 4, 5 times, and sometimes I could shuffle 23, 24, 25 times, depending on what it is that I'm looking for. Okay, now it's very obvious to me that this card here has presented itself for the answer to my question that has been in my mind. And the message on the card, which is the Astara card, and the message on the card is, you deserve the best, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and don't compromise. And the question in my mind was, the next project that I'm doing, how I should be looking at that project. Right? So the answer to my question is, don't compromise on my next project. Okay? So I'm very happy with my question and my answer. Now when I asked the question in my mind, I had already got something similar in an answer, but this qualifies as the human ego. It qualifies for the humanness in me, because sometimes we need somebody to touch us, sometimes we need to read something, sometimes we need to hear something.
Okay, and you just said there that you were very happy with the answer that you got.
Yes.
What if you're not happy with the answer?
Okay, and that's an excellent question, Susan. When we do this work and you get the answer, for example, I have found somebody that I love. Is this person good for me? And I ask the question, and I'm told that the answer is not necessarily. So now I have a choice. I can listen to my guidance that the person that I have found is actually going to is not going to be good for me, and I can continue that path, or I can do something about that, as in take the guidance I've been given.
Okay, so David, you're saying then that, if somebody meets somebody, that they can just go to the cards and, sort of say, okay, is this person the right person? Are they good for me? Are they not good for me? And then the cards will tell them. It just seems very simplistic.
Okay, it's a good point. The cards are not telling me anything.
Okay.
The cards haven't told me anything at all. The cards have only qualified a guidance I've already been given. So to go out and buy a deck of angel cards or tarot cards, or any kind of cards, and I turn those cards for answers, that doesn't qualify the question, and it doesn't qualify the answer. I must firstly, with great intention, go into that space and ask my God, my Source, for an answer. And then when the answer is given to me, then I must trust that that answer is correct. And sometimes we need to qualify that question, and that's how then we turn the card. We use the card as a tool to qualify what we've already been told. Another way of putting it, when we get that feeling in our tummy, that intuition feeling, so we know whether something is inherently right or wrong, okay? We still have a choice to go and do whatever it is that we do. And afterwards, when we get that feeling, knowing that putting my hand in the cookie jar is wrong, right? And then later I get caught, I remember the feeling that I had in my tummy telling me that was wrong. This is exactly the same thing. You know inherently in yourself whether things are right or whether they're wrong. Sometimes we want them to be right. So when we want to buy a house, for example, and then we use the cards through our intuition to actually qualify whether we should buy it or not, and the cards through our intuition suggest that this may not be the best thing in the world, but we want to buy the house, so what do? We just go and buy it anyway. So this is pure guidance. This is not direction. This is not telling you what to do. And the cards are telling me nothing.
Okay. Okay, so the thing is that in some ways you're being guided to ask the question as well because there's a doubt.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you already know that. This is the really interesting thing. The human body, every cell of our body already knows. But our ego mind wants us to go on a different path. It wants us to follow something.
Okay. David, I see that you have a pendulum on the table as well.
Yes, we can use the pendulum in a very similar way. We can use crystals in a very similar way. And I'll very quickly explain to you how one would use the crystals for gaining access. We already are in that space. We go into that place and we ask our question. And we wait for the answer. And we listen for the answer. And at the same time, then we select a crystal from our bowl or a bag of crystals. Okay. The question that I had asked was surrounding the question you had asked me about whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to go and buy a deck of cards to decide whether your relationship was worth following or not following. And then I select the rose quartz. Okay. And so for me, because I have done a lot of work with crystals, I now know that, you know, this is suggesting that I follow my heart. Right. Okay, follow my heart. So we can use all of the tools. We can use the pendulum for the same process. And as we've done the pendulum before, we take the pendulum, we ask a question in our mind of our source, of our God, and then we get an answer, okay? And this answer is positive as well. And my question was, am I making sense in this interview of what I'm saying, okay? And my guide and my God and source is suggesting to me that, yes, I'm actually making sense. So I would use lots of tools all of the time for guidance. Sometimes I don't need the tools. Sometimes I get the visions in my mind and I just use my intuition and that good feeling and then just go with it. Sometimes when I don't get the answers that I want, I might probe a little more. So I might ask more questions to try and figure out what it is that I've missed. Why should I not cross the road? I want to get to the other side. Why should I not? So I'm presented with scenarios around all of the reasons that it may not be a good idea to go across there.
Okay. So it's not about having all of the tools and asking the same question through all of the tools. It's about being able to identify which one works for you, which
Yes.
one you feel most connected
Yes. And some people find cards amazing. Yeah. Right? Some people find the pendulum tremendous. Some people find the crystals great. Some people find little inspirational cards very good. Some people don't use any tools at all. So it's different for everybody. And that's not to say that if I use any of these tools that I'm greater or lesser than anybody else. It just simply means that you use whatever it is that you can in order to get that connection nice and strong.
Okay, great. That was wonderful, David. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for listening.
Thanks very much, Susan, and thank you for watching out there, and may the light of the universe surround you always, and God bless.